We are just a couple of days out from the announcement of patch 0.2.0 for Path of Exile 2, and I'm expecting a lot. Today's video, I'm going to be giving you my predictions of nerfs, buffs, types of content that we're expecting, but all will be revealed in just a couple of days. Starting out, my boldest prediction, I think that if we are going to be seeing any new acts, Act 4, then we will also see Acts 5 and 6 along with it. One of the problems that is presented with adding just Act 4 is that it messes up the whole idea of having cruel. What do we do? Act 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then Endgame. We have seen footage of Act 4 from a while back, King's March. We've seen some teasers of Act 5 in the art book from one of the supporter packs. But with how long this has taken, I feel like it would make sense for them to just bang out the campaign in its entirety and then hopefully focus more on the endgame. Another clue that we are going to be seeing new acts are some of these new items. These are on base types that currently do not exist in the game. And from what we know, base types come from different regions of the game. So what we have now is Acts 1, 2, and 3, and then you start seeing Advanced and Expert. However, now over here, we're seeing these things like the Deepest Tower, Spirit Bone Crown. This is a new base type, currently doesn't exist in the game, and I'm not sure how this fits in unless they're adding in new acts, unless they just temporarily have this drop, say, in Act 1 Cruel. But these new uniques, I think it implies that we are definitely getting some new campaign, hopefully the rest of the campaign, just so that it is out of the way. And then next, my other prediction is that not only are we going to be getting the Huntress, which has been confirmed, I think we are getting the Druid as well. This is footage from August 2023, almost 18 months ago, and it's looking really good over here. I would be surprised if this class isn't ready after that amount of time. It also fits in very nicely with the theme of Dawn of the Hunt, so Druid and Ranger, I think, makes sense for the new patch. If we don't get it, I'd be very surprised as to why we didn't get it, because, I mean, look at this. This looks really, really good, and this is from a year and a half ago. So what's happening? Are they deliberately holding it back? Is it not ready? If they feel like it needs to be balanced, I think probably the best thing to do is just get it in the game, let players play with it, and give suggestions, give feedback, and balance it that way. So I'm thinking Huntress and Druid, and another thing, new Ascendancies. That is all but confirmed from this post over here. So it says, Content Update 0.2.0 will have some new Ascendancy classes. That is confirmed. Here is the illustration for one. I wonder what this guy specializes in. Over here, we have what is very obviously a mercenary, but then we have a dude with a sword and shield. Now the question is this a new class? Or is this just a new mercenary ascendancy? It could be a new mercenary ascendancy that focuses on sword and board. However, it could possibly be the duelist. I think assuming that we're getting not only Druid, but also a third class is probably a step too far on the Copium train. However, I'd be very interested to see how this fits in with the tree, with the skill gem system. Is this a new class? Or is this just going to be the third ascendancy for the mercenary? And then next, this is my greatest hope for Path of Exile 2. Yesterday, Jorgen released this video, and this appears to be some kind of accidental leak of what looks like an alteration orb. This might just be a bunch of gobbledygook. Apparently, initially, when they showed the map tab announcement, they released a video with this orb in it, and then later removed it. This very, very clearly looks like an alteration orb. A lot of orbs in Path of Exile show what they do. So over here we have an augment. It's got one mod, it's adding another mod, and this looks like an orb of alteration. People who didn't play PoE 1, orb of alteration, it re-rolls the modifiers on a magic item. However, one of the most important things about this is if they are adding orbs of alteration, it's not just a simple orb. It appears more as a fundamental shift in the ideology with crafting in the game. So in Path of Exile 1, we have a lot of things called reforge mechanics, where you re-roll an item to change it. So currently in Path of Exile 2, we don't really have that where you reforge items. You have the same item and you can keep crafting on that same item repeatedly, fairly easily with orbs like alterations, chaos orbs, essences, all of that. If this is an orb of alteration, it implies a lot. It implies that they are okay with having reforged in the game, which means that they could possibly add in some old things like the old functionality of a chaos orb. Also implies that they might be open to other things like adding scours back into the game, adding a crafting bench back into the game. This, I feel like, is a very controversial thing. Everyone has very strong opinions on crafting in Path of Exile 2. Some people fundamentally do not want the crafting system to change. Other people really do want it to change. They do not want these old foundational systems back in the game because it undermines potential new systems that could be possibly better. At least that's the argument I have heard. I'm strongly on the side of it worked. Why are we changing it? So I'm really hoping that this is an alteration. However, it might also be an alteration that functions in a slightly different way. Maybe it removes a mod and adds a mod similarly to a Chaos Orb. Maybe an alteration instead of a reforge is going to function more like that, just like an annul add, but only for magic items, which would be okay, I guess. But I'm really hoping they're going to add a reforge back into the game. So we do know that we are going to be getting a lot of endgame improvements. We have this over here. It says Content Update 0.2.0 will have improvements to the endgame, including improvements and new choices to the Atlas passive skill tree. One of the biggest changes a lot of us are hoping for are just improved map layouts so that maps are not as frustrating to run. Also, improved objectives in maps. Currently, endgame is very tedious. A lot of the objectives are kill all rare monsters, run 10 tier 2 maps, and then run 10 tier 3 maps, and then you get a couple of points. Hopefully a fundamental shift on the endgame is something that we can expect. Hopefully it's not just a change of some of these. I think it is safe to say that we will be getting new objectives in maps, maybe kill the boss, find the item, kill the rare mob. But really the biggest thing is just improved map layouts. Currently, almost all maps are unpleasant to run. It's a lot of work to just set up your maps. There's a lot of friction involved, and it's not fun friction. It's just frustrating friction. So endgame changes absolutely are coming. It's just to what extent are we going to be seeing a shift in the endgame? Next is just buffs and nerfs galore. That is almost guaranteed. Everyone playing Heralds, I would be very surprised if Heralds stay in the game as is for patch 0.2.0. Currently, you just blow up the entire screen when you're playing with Heralds. Jonathan has also said in the past that he is a fan of not only nerfs but buffs. So hopefully what we are going to see are things that are overperforming are brought in line to the point that they are still good, but not the best and only choice. And then some of the underpowered things being brought up to be more viable to be played with. One of the major problems currently, I feel, in Path of Exile 2 is just the lack of variety when it comes to building characters. There's not a lot of ways to scale. Everyone ends up just defaulting to a similar build because that is the only form of scaling available currently. So I'm hoping that with a balance pass, there will be many, many more options of building the same skill and the same build, but in different creative ways. That's what Path of Exile is all about. And then one of my next predictions is the reintroduction of old League mechanics. Bestiary, for example, maybe Wildwood, but with Dawn of the Hunt, things like Bestiary fit in. I'm sure that we'll hopefully see at least one new old League mechanic, or maybe just something completely brand new that we haven't seen before. So new mechanic, reworked old mechanics, something like that. And then while we watch this old Druid gameplay, let's move on into the Copium section. These are things that I am hoping will be added or removed from the game. Firstly, remove the well, get that thing out of here. No one likes it. It's stupid and dumb. Next, I want to see the removal of the salvage bench and the reforging bench. And instead, you now gain gold and materials from vendors from just selling to them. Next thing I really want is crafting bench and scours. So this one, again, like I said earlier, very controversial, but I really do want them back in the game. Next, I want mod tiers to be reverted to how they were. So tier 1 is the best mod. Tier, 10 is the lowest tier mod. One of my other hopes is the return of a race schedule. Early in Path of Exile 1, we had consistent daily races, several a day, where you could compete and gain points and then earn alt art rewards. So I'm hoping we get something like that. It's really great for the down periods during a league when there's not a whole lot to do. You can at least practice your races. I had a lot of fun during the boss kill event, and I'm really hoping that they return some kind of race support for PoE 2. And then my biggest hope for PoE 2 is just a firm stance from GGG. I don't want them to play the middle ground. I don't want them to be scared to answer questions. I want them to believe in whatever they think the game should be and make it that. If it's going to alienate some people, so be it. Instead of playing the middle ground, having sort of, look, I don't want to bring it up, but Diablo 4 is that game where it is trying to be as accessible to as many people as possible. And look, I mean, you could argue it's a fine game, but it's not special. It's not different. It's not anyone's favorite game. It's just all right. And I don't want Path of Exile 2 to just be all right. And in order to do that, it needs to have a clear vision. I know we have memed about the vision in the past, and the vision, anytime something is nerfed, it's the vision. But I genuinely believe that the game does need a vision and it needs to be apparent to players. I think that we're going to be getting less communication than we have had in the past. We've been spoiled, and now with certain dramas and controversies in the past where GG is being held to things that they said 3 years ago, I think it's less likely they're going to be as transparent. But I do want them, when they are asked a question about, let's say, what do you think about the state of crafting, for them to say, we want it like this and not like this. Instead of saying, I don't know, I think it's okay, maybe, but, just have a firm, confident picture of what you want. If some people don't like it, that's okay. I might be one of those people. If they make the game in a way that I don't like, whatever. As long as the game is good, I just want it to be good. If you try and make everyone happy, you're just going to annoy even more people. So make the game, make it what you want it to be, and have a clear vision of what you want to be. So Thursday, we're going to be seeing that. We're going to be seeing a whole lot of new stuff. If you have never seen a PoE 2 or a PoE announcement, please tune in. I promise you, it is one of the most hype evenings. I will be live on Thursday for the announcement. I'll link my Twitch in the description. Let me know some of your theories. What do you think will be added or removed? What do you think we are going to get or aren't going to get? What is Hopium? What is Copium? And are you excited? Or are you just holding your horses and hoping for nothing so that you won't be disappointed? Anyway, that's going to be it. Stay safe. Catch you in the next video, and bye-bye.